If your reader can see exactly what's coming next in your story, they're going to close it and move on to something better. So, how do you write something truly unpredictable? In a world where readers have consumed thousands of stories, they've read every best selling book, binged every plot twisty Netflix series, sat through movie after movie. They know the tropes, they know the beats, they can sniff out your ending halfway through chapter one. And that's terrifying, right? But here's the good news. It's not about outsmarting your reader with some wild, never before seen twist, and it's definitely not about swerving into left field just to be edgy. Unpredictable writing isn't about shock, it's about tension. When a reader can't see what's coming next, but every moment still feels grounded and meaningful, that's where the magic happens. And today on this video, I want to show you exactly how to create that in your story. Not just at the big macro level, which is important, but scene by scene by scene so you keep the reader hooked and turning pages. Now, my name is Tim Grahl. I'm the CEO of StoryGrid. I'm the author of 6 books. My most recent, The Shithead, has been praised by New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestselling authors. My partner, Sean Coyne, is the creator and founder of StoryGrid, and he's been in the publishing industry for over 30 years as a writer, editor, and story researcher. And everything I teach on this video and at StoryGrid is based on his expertise and knowledge. So if you're trying to write a story that keeps readers hooked and turning pages, you're in the right place. Let's start with the number one secret to unpredictable storytelling. Again, it's not shock value, it's not some crazy twist in every scene. In every truly great story, there's a point where the protagonist faces a gut-wrenching decision, a dilemma. And what makes or breaks the moment is this: the reader genuinely doesn't know what the protagonist should do in that situation. This is where predictable stories fall apart. If the reader already knows, oh yeah, they're obviously going to pick option A, then there's no tension, there's no stakes, there's no page-turning excitement to find out what happens next. So how do you make that choice unpredictable? Well, you have to make sure both options are equally possible. Like they could choose A or B, but both of those choices have to be painful. You make it so that no matter what the protagonist chooses, something important will be lost and something irreversible that they can't go back on. They can't just go back to the way things were. So let me give you a few examples. You could save one person you love most or save a dozen innocent strangers. You could tell the devastating truth or protect someone with a comforting lie. You could abandon your moral code to achieve your goal or hold to your values and fail. These aren't just plot points, they're emotional time bombs. And if you balance those choices right, your reader will be sitting there going, I honestly have no idea what they're going to do, and I can't wait to find out. This is why the crisis of every scene of your story is so important, is you have to push the protagonist where they're backed into a corner and they have to make a really hard choice. Because then the unpredictable nature of your story isn't that the reader hasn't seen this before, it's that the reader is asking themselves what they would do, and they don't even know what they would do because the choice is so hard to make. Remember that readers pick up your story because they want to feel something. They want to be surprised or challenged or emotionally pulled into the story. They want to live through something that they couldn't have imagined themselves. And when the story is predictable, it's like saying, hey, I have nothing new to offer you. You already know how this ends. That's when readers start skimming, or worse, they just put down the book and move on to a better writer. So the best stories walk a tightrope. They deliver just enough familiarity that readers feel grounded, while throwing in just enough surprise that they lean in and go, wait, what just happened? Or what's going to happen next? So how do you find that sweet spot in your story? So let's look at this balance. Too predictable is something like the hero faces a problem, fails once, tries again, and then succeeds. Yay, really it's more like yawn. So then you can go the other way and be too unpredictable. The hero suddenly gains magical powers, the villain disappears, and we're following a different character by chapter 5. Wait, what? And if this seems like something that wouldn't happen, you'd be surprised what I've seen in people's stories. So this is where you've got to find that balance between predictable and unpredictable. That just right zone looks something like this. The hero faces a problem, tries a clever but flawed solution, uncovers a deeper complication, and has to choose between two values, and both of those values they deeply care about. And it's not about right versus wrong. This isn't a moral thing. It's about what best bad choice does your character have to make. And that's not random, that's structured unpredictability. And that's what great storytelling is all about. So, when you're thinking about the crisis moments of your story, the crisis moments of each individual scene, you want to raise the stakes. You want to make the choice really hard for the protagonist to make. The harder it is for the protagonist to make, the more the reader will empathize with them and not know what the protagonist is going to do next. And there's three different types of stakes that you can raise. So think of these as like three different knobs that you can turn to raise the stakes in your story. The first is the external stakes. Will they survive? Will they win the court case? Will the monster eat them? Are they going to lose money? Are they going to get the job? It's something external that they want, right? They want to survive. They want to win the court case. They don't want the monster to eat them. So these are the external things. Then you have the internal things. So, what does this do to their sense of self, their guilt, their shame, their growth, who they love, what they desire internally, who they see themselves as? And then you have the philosophical ones. What belief or worldview is being tested? What ideology do they have that's being pushed on? And here's the thing, at those stakes moments, at those crisis moments, you want to be pushing on all of those in certain ways. So if they choose choice A, they get the external but lose the internal. Or if they choose B, they get the internal but lose the external. So this is where you start layering them in when you're looking at your story. So you could have a missing persons case becomes a government conspiracy, that's external, but then it becomes internal when the person trying to solve the case, it's all about redemption and trying to make something right that they broke long ago. And then it could even go up to that philosophical level where we're all talking about what justice actually is. And one of my favorite examples of this is in Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. So we have the detective Poirot, and he is this super logical guy that cares about justice. He's going to find out who did the murder and he's going to turn them into the cops and they're going to go away for a long time. But by the end of the story, we're dealing with this question, what is justice? And who is Poirot? How does he see himself? He sees himself one way, but that's being tested throughout the story. When he finds out what actually happens, he's being forced to question what justice really is. And so when people talk about just writing a simple crime story like Agatha Christie, they don't understand how deep it goes for all of the characters. It pushes them at the external level, the internal level, and the philosophical level, so that by the time Poirot is forced to make his final choice, we literally don't know what he's going to do until he actually does it. And so it's not that we've never seen a crime story where the investigator doesn't turn somebody in, but yet the way it's done in that story becomes unpredictable. It all comes down to the crisis and the stakes at the crisis. So remember, unpredictable storytelling doesn't mean chaos. It means carefully constructing dilemmas, character conflicts, escalating stakes that keeps your reader leaning forward, wondering what could possibly happen next. So remember, you have to craft crisis moments with painful, balanced choices in every single scene. You want to give characters desires that collide into one another and layer in your stakes so every scene matters and it's pushing on the external, internal, and philosophical all at the same time. This is how you write a story that's unforgettable. Now, of course, this is really hard to do. And it's best to learn it at the scene level first, then an entire story, because you don't want to waste your time writing an 80,000 word novel when the very first scene didn't work and you're going to lose readers there. So, how do you create these crisis moments and make sure they're working at the scene level? Well, you need to get feedback. You need an expert to look at your writing and tell you, hey, here's what you're doing right, here's what you're doing wrong, and here's how to fix it. And that's why we run the scene writing workshops at StoryGrid. These 6-week scene writing workshops have changed so many writers' lives. We've had over 500 people go through these things and they love it. And most of them say they've learned more in 6 weeks with us than 6 weeks on their own. And so not only do you get the feedback, but you do daily exercises, there's live training, and a vibrant writer community. So to find out more, go to storygrid.com/workshop and see more, fill out an application, and see if it's a good fit for you. If you want to find out all the things that go into a working scene, I have a free gift for you. We have a 13-point scene writing checklist that will walk you through exactly what needs to go into your scenes to make sure they're working. This is the same checklist that we use here at StoryGrid to give feedback on people's writing. Not only do you get the checklist, you get a video walking you through how to use it. So go to storygrid.com/checklist to download that. It's my free gift for you to say thanks for being here. Now, the crisis of your story is just one of the 5 commandments of storytelling. And if you want to find out more about the 5 commandments and how they interact with your scenes and your story, click on the video that's on your screen right now. That's a great place to start and continue your education as a writer. But either way, thanks so much for being a writer. Thanks for being a part of our community here at StoryGrid, and I'll see you next time.